Hi, my name is Lynn Porter, and I'd like to spend some time with you, if I may, going on a journey through something called Pat's Garden. So what exactly is Pat's Garden? It's a technique that I've been developing over many years that helps people define their lifescape. Their lifescape is the way they see their life as it's happening for them at that particular time. It's explained in great detail in my new book, Pat's Garden, The Elevated Levels, and this film is about introducing the book to you, the training and the workshops that go alongside. So Pat's Garden then is a technique I developed over many years in a program called HET, Holistic Educational Therapy. It was inspired in my childhood by my mother, Pat. I loved autograph books as a child, always getting Mum to write in them. Each time she would write the same thing. Life is a garden without any doubt. You put good things in and you'll get good things out. Now, I never really understood what that meant, but the words followed me over the years throughout my work in creating the HET, Holistic Educational Therapy program. It's a simple, fun technique that has helped so many over the years. Mum finally made her own journey back home to tend her garden in May 2009. I dedicate this technique to her in appreciation of all the gifts she gave me from her garden. So, Pat's Garden comes in 4 levels. Level 1 is interpretation. It's about defining a new beginning in your life right now. It starts the very simple process, drawing a picture of a garden. It's so simple. Firstly, you take the paper and crayons, pen, pencil, whatever you like, and you draw any garden that you like. It can be a real garden, imaginary one you visited, one you'd like, fantasy garden, whatever. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Here's just a couple of examples I've collected in doing this technique with people over many years. Once you've drawn your garden, you need to take the piece of paper and fold it into 3. Once you've done that, you fold it again, this time into 2. Doesn't matter whether you're working with landscape or portrait. It's the same principles involved however you do this. When you open the paper up again, you'll note that it's in 6 sections. So let's have a look at what those sections actually represent. Each of the zones going across the page represent the past, the present and the future. But at the same time, they are also indicative of the subconscious mind, which is all those patterns that we bury deep within us of experiences that we've had over the years that we don't actually know are running in the background of everyday life. Our conscious minds, which is that focused awareness of what we've got to do now, what we've got to get finished by a certain time, what we have to do, how we're going to get for dinner, all those things that we're thinking about in the now. And also the superconscious mind, which is also the higher self. If you don't know who superconscious mind is, then it's the feeling that we get when we know we should do certain things in a certain way, and if we don't listen to that and we don't follow it through, then we'll usually regret it. So those 3 zones in its simplistic form represent the past, which is the zone at the bottom, the present, the one across the middle, and the future. It can also be divided into 2, a left-hand side of the page and a right-hand side of the page. And that right-hand side represents masculine influences in your life, and it can literally be that masculine, father, relative, friend influences in your life, male influences in your life, but also the logical and the rational aspects of you. The left-hand side, however, represents the feminine influences in your life. Female friends, relatives, mother, carer influences in your life. It also represents the intuitive and creative aspects of you. So, with the zones defined, the sections defined, we need to start to interpret the drawing and what it's telling us about how we see our life right now by looking at what has been drawn and where it's been drawn. And to do this, we use symbols as the metaphors for how that person perceives their life. So here's an example of a drawing. And having divided it all up, we would then break it down into understanding what those metaphors included in the drawing signify to us. By understanding how someone perceives their life right now, they can understand how they can change their life by changing their perception, the way they see it. You don't have to be the greatest artist in the world to do these. Just simple pen or pencil drawings, or even notes, just signify so much about what's going on in our background. Now, once you've done your garden, you can start to change things by changing perception, as I've said, but it can be done quite consciously by creating a relationship of intention and attention through wearing a personally commissioned piece of Pat's Garden jewellery. This works a little bit like law of attraction. When we interact with it on a daily basis, it reminds us of how we're seeing life and what we want to change about it. An example of this is the lady who she had birds in her drawing, which indicate opportunities in life. So she had a bird on a simple charm bracelet. It can be on a key ring or zipper charm or whatever. But she would wear this and interact with it on a daily basis, and it focused her intention to invite opportunities into her life. She was in a bit of a rut, and she was paying that very thought, very desire attention. Somebody came in to fix a photocopier in the office at work. She was making a cup of coffee, so she offered to make one for the photocopier maintenance gentleman, and they got talking, and he said to her that they were taking on new jobs in his office. The company was expanding, and therefore she thought about applying and got the job as an office manager there. So what she was doing was interacting to the opportunities that were coming into her life, which previously would have passed her by, but because it was an intention and an attention, she actually manifested that in her life. So this is why wearing the jewellery can be so helpful. Here's an example of a Pat's Garden. This is a commission piece, and it's got numerous charms that you can interchange on a daily basis. So as your focus changes, you can wear a different metaphor in order to focus that attention. Here is one that is based on a bouquet of flowers that came from a flower bed. We'll look a little bit more about this when we look at level 2. But by looking at the flowers, flowers represent life's experiences. And by looking at the flowers that are drawn in a flower bed, then we can start to look at what those experiences are creating for us. And a little bit of research, reference to the Victorian language of flowers, can reveal so much. So garden drawings will change at different times. As perception changes, the living landscape of the subconscious mind will change in much the same way as seasons change in gardens. Once you've done a drawing, you can go back and do another one. In a few weeks or a few months' time, or even a few years' time, it'll be a completely different garden to the one you designed before.